Hi, this is Group 5 of UCD project Deliverable 3 user interface design video. Due to the symptoms people with dementia they have, such as memory loss, memory issues, so people with dementia who are still well enough to live at home may occasionally wander away or even get lost. The sensor technologies, GPS, can allow people with early stage dementia independence while decreasing the need for caregivers to be always physically present. We have found, according to the interview data, such as configuration for dangerous environment, configuration for safety radius, configuration for contacting help emergency contacts, notification to user when people with dementia go out of safety radius, and so on. There are a lot of existing technology in the market now. So for example, there's an application called Dementia Emergency, but in the application, it's only show like what the caregiver should do when the dementia people are in emergency condition. The GPS will do is track the people with dementia on real time. So the caregiver would know where PWD has been to. The problems of caregiver for taking caring the PWD is it's putting a lot of stress on the caregiver because cannot physically be in person. So the user goal we found is with the GPS function, it will decrease a lot of stress for the caregiver.
So now I'd like to walk you through our design scenario. Annabette is a 57-year-old teacher away for work at a professional development conference. She used to be a key speaker and a really engaged member of the educational community, but it's become really difficult in the past few years. Her husband Robert was diagnosed with dementia, and there's been several instances while she's been at work where she's missed calls regarding Robert's whereabouts, and in particularly extreme circumstances where he's injured himself or ended up in hospital. But Anna breathes a little bit of a sigh of relief in the audience. She can quickly check her new app, the Freedom Tracker app, and see Robert's current location within 2 swipes. A few hours passes by, and Anna checks her phone again. She has received an alert. Robert's been out of a safe known location and pretty far away from their home for over 30 minutes. She normally would be utterly distressed at this point, but she can see that her daughter, Sarah, who's also connected to her and Robert on the app, is only 2 kilometers away from his current location. She can also see that Sarah's responded to the notification, and Anna's distress dissipates. So Anna represents end users that we really tried to take into consideration, because not all primary carers are able to stop working to undertake the extensive responsibilities of being a primary carer. And many end users may still have other family obligations. They may have careers that they're really passionate about. So Anna's needs and many end users' needs will be to able to ensure a person with dementia's safety when they can't be in close proximity, to have quick access to information about location and safety, and to be able to balance their roles and responsibilities alongside their carer work.
Frame and design iterations, our team have decided to combine those two together in order to show the evolutions of the wireframe throughout each iterations. There is 2 initial design for the landing page in the first iteration. The first one have a smaller map. There's a menu to track the device list, a button to track the notifications, and a hamburger menu that lead to history, setting, user profile, and possibly a locked-out functions. The second design for the first iteration have a full screen map, but no tracking for the device list, and all the other functions like notification, tracking device list is moved into the hamburger menu, which is located on the top left corner. After gathering feedback from the tutor within groups and other group, we have decided to go for version 1 because the version 2 hide all of the functions within the hamburger menus, and we believe that can lead to a harder time for an older group of users. However, the initial landing page version still have a lot of drawbacks. For example, the map is pretty small. It is quite difficult to navigate within the application without a navigation bar, and the upper navigation bar took quite a bit of space. Therefore, for the next design iterations, the upper navigation bar was removed, a navigation bar at the bottom was added, therefore a bigger map for the user, and the hamburger menu is also redesigned and structured like a tree so the user can have an easier time navigating throughout the applications. Also, the icon button for the notification was also redesigned to make sure it resembles a notification rather than the text chat. For the last design iterations, the device list was redesigned so the map can have a bigger space. The device list is now can be pulled up and down to show more or less device.
In this regard, we had two key considerations. So the first was, how can we best organize data to support carers to understand trends and patterns in terms of alerts and movement activity over time? And the second was, how can we display or represent this data in a way that was interpretable, particularly when it comes to spatiotemporal data, because it's hard to represent that without displaying it geographically on a map. And we considered having a summary statistic kind of dashboard that would separate the different aspects of historical data that had been captured. Presenting charts as well, so doing a summary over time, but then going into each component. So if you clicked on location history data, you would be able to select a day and then actually see the activity records and the movement trends on a map, as well as how far had been traveled. And then you would also be able to go in and see your alert log. And this was chosen because it would enable users to access all of their alert history in one place. The alternative design hoped to provide a way that would allow users to associate alert history or events that had happened in the app with the actual location data. So in this design, a user clicks on a given day and then they can see how far was traveled, still get a daily summary statistic in a nice graph, and then access all the alerts that were received on that day as well, and then giving users opportunity to dive deeper if they wanted to. So being able to see a more detailed daily log on the map, or being able to click on an alert and find out more. So we received feedback that organizing the data by date would be most useful, particularly in terms of for end users being able to associate emergency events with the locations that they'd occurred in and the date that they'd occurred on. So we decided to use alternative 2. We also received feedback that the map representation of location history might be complex and may also confuse the live tracking map representation. So we decided to present a more textual representation with a button and flexibility in enabling users to be able to move to the map representation if they wanted to.
So this is the wireframe of the setting page. As you can see, there's A and B. There are two sets of wireframes. The setting page, safety zone, device page, connect a device. So after a discussion with my teammate, we decided to go for the set of A wireframe because, as you can see, the setting A page, there are bigger buttons than the setting B's, and also for safety zone, we are using buttons to control the radius instead of drawing a circle. So after we show these wireframes to the tutor and the students in the class, and the feedback I receive is, if I separate the connect device and device list into 2 pages, it might make confusion to the users, to the older user groups. So Instead, I combine it together and also add a button in the device list. As you can see on the right-hand side, there's an add device, so the user can just click it and it will bring it to the connect device page.
Demonstrating two tasks in the main page. The first task is locate the user, and the second task is find direction to the PWD people. So when the user open up the application, they will see their device in the middle of the screen. They can click and define locate PWD people. And in the device list, the user can also see PWD devices. Furthermore, they can toggle the show help to see all the help from the applications. And if they want to find direction toward the PWD people devices, they can click on the device, click on find directions, and a map going to be open up with time and distance, and they can follow the directions. It will have a estimate time and distance. They can also share the routes.
I'm going to demonstrate two tasks. The first task is set up safety zones, and the second task is how do you connect the device with the application. So the first task, as you can set a timer for the safety zones and enter the safety zone name, and there's a search buttons, and this green circle is representing the radius. So this plus minus button is controlling the radius of the safety zones. Once you are done with the timer and then the name, you can just click save. Then it will show you a notification that zone saved successfully. And then just click OK. And you can check the save zone history right here, these big blue buttons. As it will show you clearly the name, the timer that you set, and there's a delete button. So the timer function is to trigger an alert if the PWD go out of safety zone more than the time that they set. It will send a notification to the caregiver. So the second task is how do you connect the device? As you can see, there's a big green button. Just click it, and it will clearly show you the instruction, and you just need to follow to do it. And just click next, and then next again, and then find the device that you are looking for, and just click it. It will become the green line border, and then click connect, then you are done.
So I have a few tasks I'd like to complete related to my app history. Now I can always use my navigation down here, but if I forget where exactly I need to go to do that, I can always use my hierarchical page list here. Great, I can see I need to go to app records. Okay, so I do have some good cognitive affordance here with the use of a calendar, so let's pick a date now. I'd like to view here. Okay, so now I get a summary of all the movement data that was captured on that day, and even how much of that occurred in a safe zone or not. And I can also see all the alerts that we issued on this day. But now I'm kind of noticing that I got this safety alert, and I'd like to find out more information about that. So to complete this next task, let's have a look. Okay, so I can actually see exactly where my PWD went on that day, and I can see this alert was issued in this location. So let's find out more information. Okay, so I can see who even responded to this alert, as well as why it was issued and when exactly it was issued. Now the great thing about this is that if I have some questions for the person who responded, I can always share it with them and follow up. But for now, I'm thinking I wouldn't mind making some changes to some of this location over here, so I can go straight to my settings. To conclude our presentation, I would like to highlight a few key areas that we plan to continue working on in the future. Firstly, accessibility testing and assurance is one component, particularly with regards to perceivability and operability, the criteria in W3C's accessibility guidelines. We'd like to test our contrast ratio to ensure that our bodies of text can meet the highest level of conformance. And we'd also like to offer customization so that users can change the font size and the app's color themes as well. For operability, we'd also like to evaluate our interactive components, and we would do this by using a mobile device simulator and an assistive technology simulator to ensure that our touch target size is appropriate, that there's no keyboard tapping, and so on. We also appreciate that platform and OS adaptation increases usability by providing a familiar and preferential interface for a range of different users. So we would plan to extend beyond the iOS specific components that we've presented here today. We believe that these are the key areas that will complement the work that we've already put into considering the needs and experiences of our end users, and we hope that you've enjoyed our design thus far. Thank you.